Hey, what's up guys? Last week I had the honor of being on Rick's channel, The Helpful Entrepreneur, to talk about my journey in entrepreneurship and how I got started in real estate investing. So if you're interested in how I got started, please continue watching this video. And if you want to check out the full interview, I'm going to leave the link in the description down below. Rick does a weekly interview with entrepreneurs and YouTubers about how they got started. So if you're interested in participating and doing something like this, please contact him on Instagram at The Helpful Investor, or you could just leave a comment on one of his videos. So before we get started, I just want to apologize because I said like way too many times in this conversation. So please excuse my overuse of the word like.
Let's first talk about you being an entrepreneur, okay, a bit more in depth, and then we'll talk about your real estate, and then we're going to talk about what's going on in the markets, because this is right now huge. So as we're saying earlier, just backstage about the markets, this is just unbelievable times right now. So first of all, you being an entrepreneur, let's touch base on that. Let everybody know about everything that you've done as an entrepreneur over the years.
I mean, do you want me to start from the very beginning?
You can tell us, you can tell us how did you learn to be an entrepreneur? You say you're first generation, you're born there in the States,
Yeah, so when
you start making money as an entrepreneur, put it that way.
I mean, I remember I think because my upbringing was so rough that it made me value money. So I would always think about, how to make money, because as a kid, I remember my parents, my brother and we lived in a tiny studio apartment in New York. It was barely 400 square feet. We had we were basically crammed in there like sardines. So
Nice.
It was just
nice.
Really rough to go through. So that's why I feel that influenced me to value money a lot more. So even as a little kid, like I said, when I was in second grade, I was already, buying candies wholesale and then selling it to my classmates. And, as a 7-year-old, what else can you do, right? And then as I got a little older, I started playing. I played a lot of video games as I started getting older, and then I started realizing, video games have their own sort of little economies in there. So in the game itself, I would make money in the game buying items that were popular and then reselling it and making basically you've probably heard of flipping items in real life, but I was doing that within video games and making a lot of money in the video game currency. And then I would use that video game currency and sell it to people for real life money. People spend a lot of money on video games and digital items in those games. So as I was when I was younger and I didn't have many, you can't really buy real estate when you're 10 years old. So that was
a little too young for that, I think.
Yeah, that was what
maybe
I was doing.
But cutting it though,
It's just I always had these ideas pop up into my mind, and I just tried a lot of things out. I remember in high school, do you guys remember the PSP? It was a Sony game console.
Yep.
I had a pretty decent business back in high school. Because I used to tinker with them. So they were about a couple $100, I think $200 something. So I would buy broken ones from people for $20 off of Craigslist. I would post up a bunch of ads every single day buying broken PSPs for $20. And then when I had multiple broken PSPs, I would take the working parts from the broken ones and then kind of put them together, and I would make working ones. Then I would sell those on Craigslist as well. So I would basically get 2 broken PSPs for $20 each, put them together, make a working one, and sell it for $100 something.
That is so smart. Good for you, man. That's amazing. That's such a smart idea.
I did this for a long time during high school. It was like, it's just like I always get these like I always got these random ideas when I was younger.
Nice.
Just like acted on it. What else did I do? That was I think that was a very it was pretty lucrative because nobody wanted their broken PSPs. They just put it in their drawer. So when I put a Craigslist ad up, it was like people were messaging me left and right. And since I'm from New York City, it's so dense here. I got a lot of people buying and selling. And then when I took out, I also found that there was a market on eBay for broken PSPs. Like people would be doing the same thing as me, and they would be selling broken PSPs listed as for parts only. So I would buy them for $20. Then I would take some of the parts that I need out, and then I would list it on eBay, and then somebody else would buy the broken one from me that I already took like some of the parts out. I mean, it still had some working parts, but like I was able to get like $50-$60 for them. It was really good. And then after that, I started. I was also flipping items on Craigslist as well. Like I wasn't limited to only PSPs. I would buy like Nintendo and stuff. Like the DS. That was a big thing for me too, because people sell things and for really cheap sometimes. I have no idea why. And then like you just buy it from Craigslist, and then I would sell it on eBay and make the difference from that. It was I don't know how
lucrative for you.
I noticed it and took advantage of it. And actually that's I actually did a lot of I really like eBay. Like I actually made a lot of money from eBay, not just with the PSP. Do you remember when fidget spinners were like a massive thing a couple of years ago?
Yeah, of course.
I actually made a ton of money selling fidget spinners on eBay.
Are you serious?
I went.
Good for you, man.
Like I noticed that really early.
Yeah.
I went on Alibaba, and I actually was buying from the factories in Alibaba, and then sold it on eBay. And it's just like, if you're thinking about ways to make money, there's always things that like anybody can do. You just have to come up with the idea and then execute on it. I remember like I was buying fidget spinners for like $3 from China, from Alibaba, and then I would sell them on eBay for like $15. I mean, it was
nice margins.
It was a lot of work. Like, don't get me wrong, it was a lot of work because, I mean, I was shipping out hundreds of packages every single day, and like I was doing it myself. So I was like packing them, bringing them to the post office. I mean, I felt like the ladies at the post office just like didn't want to see me anymore. Look at this guy coming in again with like boxes. It got to the point where, I had to make multiple trips to the post office because like my car couldn't fit enough.
Nice.
Boxes.
Good for you, man. That's cool. That's great.
Yeah, so
great story.
It was, I think I started really young with entrepreneurship, and it's just one idea comes after the next.
Absolutely. And the key is, like you said earlier, is to execute on them too, right? Mm-hmm. Ideas are like, there's tens of thousands of ideas. Whether or not you're going to execute, that's the real challenge, right?
Yeah, it's a lot about mindset too, and like how you view things. Because a lot of people they have great ideas, and then they're just like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And then they just get overwhelmed. And it's more about, just my wife was actually saying this about me. Like, that's one thing that she told me, like, she really likes about me, because I always, when I have an idea, like I get like the basic game plan down, and then I just do it. I don't worry about, like, oh, what's going to happen now? What's going to happen after that? Like, how do I do this? How do I do that? I just start, and then you just learn as you go, basically.
Most often
you know, like, who would have thought, like, who would have known how to fix PSPs? You know, like, you just go on Google and type how to fix PSPs, watch a video about it, and then you basically, that's how I learned it. And then same thing with you know, how to sell on eBay. You know, you just learn all these little things that make you successful. Like, everybody can sell on eBay, but I think there was one strategy that I did that really helped, I think. So to get on eBay, there's something called sales velocity. So if you start selling really fast right out of the gate, your item gets pushed to the first page. I learned that from YouTube. Like, it's just, what I was doing was, when I would list a new item, like a new fidget spinner, I would have like 2,000-3,000 of that kind. My first couple, I would sell them for $1. Just like, shipping is like $2 and something, and packaging, like, it costs $3 to sell, but I would sell it for $1.
Yeah.
Just so that I could sell like 20, 30 of them in the first like hour that I put it up. And once that happens, I'm on the front page. Like, I'm at the very top. After that, I start raising the price. And then as I got to the price that I wanted, you know, that's it. I just stop. And by that point, I'm already on the first or second page, and I'm getting a lot of sales, even at the higher price. So that's like some like little details that nobody even think about. But, you know, all it takes is a quick, you go on Chrome, google.com. I mean, go on Chrome, open up YouTube, how to sell on eBay, and then you just watch a bunch of videos about it, and you learn all these crazy tricks, and it really helps. You know, like, that's why, you know,
these are great tips. Great job.
I really love YouTube for that, because you can literally learn how to do anything. Like, anything you want to know, just YouTube it, and there will be a tutorial about it. And, you know, just have an idea, go on YouTube, learn how to do it, and do it. That's pretty much
it's just the execution of getting it done. That's it, right? It's so true.
In New York, it's really hard to start real estate, just because the barrier of entry is really high. You just, the only way you can do it is just work hard and save. Basically, work hard, don't spend a lot of money, and save. You know, it's basically working for your future. But if you're in like a less competitive area, let's say you're in like Indiana or something, where you know, it's less competition, you can definitely get something with FHA 3.5% loan. And, you know, since the price points over there are like lower, 3.5%, you can start getting into something with like maybe $10,000-$15,000. But still, I don't want to downplay, you know, how hard it is to get that 10,000-15,000, because, you know, you just need to save, basically. Once you get your first property, that's when things pretty much explode. Like, it gets pretty exponential. I was actually going to make a video about this, like basically refinancing to get leverage to buy more properties. When you buy your first property, every single month you have to pay a mortgage. So when you pay a mortgage, part of that goes towards paying your interest, but the other part goes towards paying your principal. So as the years go by, your loan amount goes down. And then with appreciation, the value of your property goes up. Built up the equity, refinanced, took out the money, and then you can use that to buy a second property. And that's not even counting, you know, the cash flow that you're getting for renting that property for those 5 years. Now you have 2 properties, right? After that, just wait another 5 years, do the same thing again. Now your 2 properties becomes 4 properties. And then you just wait 5 more years, do the same thing again, and now you have 8 properties. It's basically like the growth is exponential, but the hardest part is to start. I don't know everything, you know. It's impossible to know everything. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I went on a forum called Bigger Pockets. If you
Yep.
guys are into real estate, you know, Bigger Pockets is a great resource. They have like their forum is packed full of other investors. And if you need any help with anything, you just post a question about it and somebody will give you like a great answer. Like right now, I'm into buy and hold real estate, which is basically like I just buy it. I plan to hold it for long term, and I just rent it out and like, you know, build up equity and get cash flow every single month. But there are so many other strategies. I was actually at one point looking at buying a piece of land to build on top of it. And, you know, I had no idea what I was doing. Like, what do I need to do to build on that piece of land? Like, you know, you have to get certain permits, you have to hire certain contractors, you have to do like a lot of groundwork, you know, all of this stuff at that time I didn't know. So YouTube, how to build, how to develop a piece of land. I went on Bigger Pockets on the forums. They have like a development section. So I made a post. You know, I'm new to development. I'm trying to learn as much. Exactly, yes. Like Ryan said, you need a rough in utilities. So you need to put in all the plumbing work. You need to put like the sewer lines, the water main lines, the electric lines. You know, at that point, you know, you might know that you need to do those things, but like how exactly do you do those things? That's when like a lot of videos are handy. You go on the forums. I don't directly ask them exactly how to do it. It's more like nobody really has the time to answer every single little question. So, you know, I just made a post like, hi, you know, my name is Ben. I'm looking to get into development, but at this point, I'm kind of like a fresh book. I want to learn more about it. Can you guys please point me to a direction, like what type of resources I should look at? And people will just basically give you like link you posts of like, you know, things that they think you should read. And it's so helpful to go through something like that. You also have to have like a mentality of like, you don't know everything and you have a lot to learn, basically. Like you need to be open about seeking help from other people. When they give you advice, just like you have to work at it and just learn as much as you can, because you know investment is also about, you know, education. You need to know what you're doing, and in order to learn, you have to hang out with basically people who have done it already, and they learn from them.
And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Exactly.
A lot of questions.
No matter how small, no matter how insignificant you think it is, you know, just like do as before. Actually, don't ask every single question without first trying to do your own research. Don't like just straight up ask like a very obvious question. Just like keep in mind the questions that you have, and then you can like search up specifically what you want to know. And then if it's like you can't find it, then you ask it, basically. So people, you know, don't get annoyed that you didn't put any effort into looking for it for yourself. One of my favorite like terms is like, you don't really know what you don't know. Like you don't even know what you don't know. So, you know, once you start looking into something, you answer one question, but then you come out with like 5 other questions. And then you start like you just start jumping in and start answering every single question. And that's how you really like learn how to do something.
The information and tools are out there. And the best part is it's all free. Just use YouTube and Google. The most important part is to just get started. Again, if you want to check out the full interview, the link to Rick's channel is going to be in the description section below.